Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Wattsburg Area School District, where we are student-centered and future-focused for a world-class education. The November 20th regular board meeting is now called to order. Would you please stand for a Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a roll call, please.
Mrs. Burlingham?
Here.
Mrs. Lee?
Here.
Mrs. Pound?
Here.
Mrs. Farrell?
Here.
Mr. Matson?
Here.
Dr. Pushchak?
Here.
Mrs. Hetherington?
Here.
Mr. Morvay?
Here.
Mr. Beluga?
Present. Thank you. I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda and the addendum.
Morvay, so moved.
Pound, second.
Any question or discussion or revisions to tonight's agenda? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion carries. The agenda and addendum are approved. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the October 16th, 2023 regular board meeting and the November 13th, 2023 work session.
So moved. Pushchak.
Second, Farrell.
Thank you. Is there any discussion or questions to the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion carries. The minutes are approved. The chair recognizes Mr. Ken Berlin, Dr. Ken Berlin, Superintendent of Schools, for the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good evening to everyone that's joined us. We had an unbelievable fall season of activities and other types of excellence all over the place. And I know Mr. Englert's going to talk a little bit about that. And we'd like to hear from the students that did all the amazing work. I see a lot of championship ribbons out there, which is awesome. So, Mr. Englert, if you'd like to get things started.
Yeah, I think it is fun. All right, well, I think it is fun to have so many people here for such positive reasons. And if you followed Seneca sports for any period of time, I would say the last several seasons have been some of the most successful seasons in our history. And I do believe that this fall sports season is the most single successful season in school history, with 3 district titles, some district qualifiers, some state qualifiers, and then the band also with the amazing season that they had. So I don't want to steal their thunder. I think you guys want to hear from them and not me. So I'll start with the girls soccer team. Julie Buchanan is here to introduce them.
Hey everybody, thanks for having us tonight. I'm really happy and excited to be here. We're so proud of these kids for their dedication and hard work this season, but also for so many years, since the beginning of our Seneca Soccer Club so many years ago that I started. But with great results. So this was our vision so many years ago, and it's so great to see that it worked. And here we are with some state champions for the girls and the boys. Not state, but the District 10. We had an amazing season this year. Every year for the last 4 years, we made it to the championship game. This is the first time we won the championship game. We had an amazing season. We were 17-0, undefeated the entire time. Only 4 goals scored against us until the state game. We scored over 70 goals in the season.
Wow.
Thank you for always supporting our program. Even from the beginning when I asked for time in the gym on Saturdays so I could run the Seneca Soccer Club for all the little kids. You guys did that for us. We're so happy to be here and to win Region 3 title and also District 10 for the first time and bringing home.
I mean, you didn't hear me?
We heard you. We heard you.
How'd you do that all over again?
No.
Okay, I wrote it. I could say it again. Okay.
Replay.
All right, well, my husband wasn't here tonight because he's homesick, and so is my daughter. So 2 out of the 5 of us are homesick. But he wrote up something for me to read to all of you. He said, Dr. Berlin, board members, players, parents, and members of the community, Sorry I couldn't be here to celebrate. We are raising more than just athletes here at Seneca. These athletes also take their education seriously. They are truly student athletes, many of them playing more than one sport. In the past 5 years, no member of the team has been on the ineligibility list. Many receive high honors and are members of the National Honor Society at Seneca. Now for the soccer side, why is Seneca such a powerful force in D10 soccer? It didn't just happen overnight. It happened because of many members of the community putting together a youth program at Seneca. Lots of hard work, time, and meetings, and the Seneca Bobcat team was born. Excuse me. It was a fun time watching a lot of these young men and women start their soccer careers way back then. Let's see. He said just a few words, and then he gave me this whole sheet. He said, I guess I officially started coaching at Seneca in 2019-20. The first year was tough, but we managed to have a great season with a 500 record of 9-9. We were third in the district. In 2021, the boys soccer team grew stronger, ending the season with 9 wins, 7 losses, taking fourth in the district. In these 2 years, the team managed to win more games than they have in the last 10 years combined. During the 21-22 season, the boys soccer team finished with 16 wins, 3 losses, and 1 tie, capturing the first ever regional title for Seneca. They didn't stop there. In 22-23, the team had a record of 17-3. They not only won their region back-to-back, they brought home the first ever District 10 title. This year was no exception. The boys started the season remembering last year's accomplishments and worked hard every day with a record of 13-8. They also won their second D10 championship, and yes, it was a back-to-back D10 titles. Their hard work, determination speaks for itself. I'm so proud of these young men and their athleticism, hard work, and devotion. The student athletes are amazing young people. They have learned life skills about soccer and life in the process. Again, thank you for everybody who's helped them along the way.
So she read that because I'm not a good speaker. But we do want to thank the parents because it took a lot to start this in 2011, I believe it was. And this just proves you can work together, but it takes parents.
Thank you.
All selfless, donated hours, and Dr. Pushak was one of them every weekend.
Yeah, I just want to say,
There you go. Good job.
winners aren't born overnight, as Mrs. Bakevich said. It takes years of dedication, and that's something, an awesome thing that you've all learned in a big way that I know will make you even more successful in life. So I'm just going to give the boys and girls soccer teams, these are some certificates signed by Mr. Blazer, the board president, and myself. So they'll distribute those to you. And Mrs. Cage, you are up.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm Randy Cage, and these are all my kids. So I'll keep this brief. I didn't write anything down for Julie to say for me, so I guess. First of all, I just want to thank you all for all of your support for all the years I've been coaching here. This is my 10th year coaching cross country, and 9 of those years I've taken some kids to states. This year was the most kids I've ever had make it to the state championship meet. And when I say they have taken me, like, it's all of their hard work. If you've ever ran any distance, you know it's really hard. So these guys are really awesome. It takes a really special kind of person to be able to do what they do every day. And I think what's really unique is when I first started here, we did not have dual athletes. we now do. And you notice that there were 3 District 10 championships this year, and we share athletes on all of those teams. So that's really, really cool. And that was one of the things that I did really push for when I started here, was like, do well, you can do it all. And they do. These kids not only do it in the classroom, but they do it on the soccer field and cross country. They're going to do indoor track, they're going to do basketball, they're going to do outdoor track and softball and baseball, and they do it all because you guys let them do that. We let them do that, and we help make them successful in all of those areas. And I think that's really, really, really special here. And then my coach wanted to say something as well.
My name is Nate Myers. I'm technically the assistant middle school coach, but the way we have it structured, everybody just runs together and we all kind of throw our coaching advice at them all at once. I wanted to say something because last time we were here was 4 years ago, and the girls that are seniors this year were being recognized for their 8th grade season. They were comically better than everybody else. And I didn't say anything, and I felt so bad. And a lot of these girls I've coached ever since 7th grade, some longer. Well, I've known them longer. But anyway, one thing I wanted to point out is people are always worried that you're going to be able to continue to have success. And after the girls won their 2nd District 10 championship in a row, one of the other girls came up to me and said, do you think the girls team will be good next year? Because we're graduating a lot of seniors. And without thinking, I said, absolutely. Just because that's what I thought. And then later on, I started thinking, I went back and I looked at the score sheet from the District 10 race. And I subtracted all of the girls from the lineup that were going to graduate. And it still was not even close. So that made me feel really good. And also, I don't want to keep pointing at the girls, keep pointing them out, because the whole team went. 2 young men did amazingly well too. 1 senior, 1 freshman. So we're not just a 1 athlete team. So just any chance I have, I want to make sure that any praise that is given to us always deflect onto the kids, because all we do is talk. They do everything. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Great job, cross-country team and coaches. And if you can get them to stay in one place long enough, slow down, not run away, there's some certificates for them as well.
Good evening. I'm not going to talk much because I'm a very firm believer that what we do is about them. So I just wanted to take just a moment myself and thank you. And it's such a blessing and a privilege to work in such a very supportive district, from the Board of Education to the parents to the administration. So thank you very much. So that's all I'm going to say, and I'm going to hand it over to Mallory Campbell, our drum major for this 2023 season.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mallory Campbell, and I'm happy to be able to speak here tonight. I've been in marching band for the past 6 years. I play flute, and I've been drum major for the past 3 years. On behalf of the students in marching band, I would like to say a genuine thank you to Dr. Berlin and the board for their outstanding support of the band this season. First of all, we are extraordinarily grateful for the new sound system. Not only did it take this year's show Pixels to a whole new level, pun intended for those who will understand, it adds so much potential for future seasons and performances. It also demonstrates that our music program is not stagnant and that we are growing. Second, I would like to thank Dr. Berlin and the board for their flexibility, grace, and support with reviving our band program, and especially the process of introducing a new band director. Mr. Cosby has been such a blessing to our program, and your collaboration has made all the difference. Despite the challenges we faced this year, our marching band has had a season filled with success. Throughout the competitions, we have maintained an almost consistent second place. And when we weren't in second place, we were in first. At championships, we placed second out of 9 bands. We were only a few points behind our main competitor Maplewood, and even scored higher than them in a couple subcategories. With the addition of our sound system, we have the ability to take our performances a step further, and that I know will lead to us eventually being a first-place band. Every show, we were always able to add something new and exciting to our performance, whether it be visuals, props, or even the sound system, a testament to consistent improvement and growth. If our program was able to expand this much in just a short season, I can't wait to see how much it will grow in the next few years. Thank you again for your generosity and support.
We also have some certificates for all of the band members for having a great season, accomplishing a lot. It doesn't matter what you were involved in, you were involved. That makes you part of the Seneca family and a Bobcat. And I remember the Meet the Seneca Bobcats Day, and that was one of the first times we've ever done anything on that level. And I know a lot of people were asking, what's this about? What's this about? I think we know what it's about. It was really awesome to see all of you. And, you know, and I mean the teams that aren't here too, football and volleyball. A lot of things going on this fall. Whether you're here or not, all champions, but I knew it just seeing you all in that big line on the field. I had said to my wife afterwards, I think most of the high school is in an activity on the field, which is great. These are the things that I think you'll remember, and you learn lessons here that you won't get in the classroom. So I commend all of you for putting the time in, and very, very thankful that we have the type of students that will take ownership in what they do and take ownership in our school. So great job. Congratulations.
On behalf of the board, I just once again like to congratulate all the athletes on their success this year. Thank the coaches for all their hard work and all the time they put in. And thank you, as someone said already, to all the parents that have gotten those kids to where they are today. So we appreciate it all. Thank you all for coming. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting. It gets a lot drier after this, but you're also welcome to leave if you have something else better to do. Anybody else from the board have any comments?
No, go Cats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Congratulations.
I actually would like to say something. The play this past weekend, I heard very, very phenomenal. So congratulations to those kids as well.
Thank you. Good point. The next item on the agenda is guest and citizen comments. Give a minute for the crowd to disperse. First up is David Bona. Is David still here?
Can you, Mallory Campbell?
She's done. Okay.
Because that was her.
That was her public.
He does not want to speak again.
No problem.
Hello, how you doing tonight? A couple quick things. Just wanted to thank the board for adding Mr. Englert to the high school. I think he's a phenomenal hire, and we're so lucky. I have a senior student and a 7th grader, and from Mrs. Barboni to Mr. Paris and now Mr. Englert, we're extremely lucky as parents to have such phenomenal leadership. So thank you guys for that. The other thing I want to talk about is another hire, which is Mr. Cosby. The music program is in such phenomenal hands with the addition of Mr. Cosby. The fact that he came in right before band started, and we've just been totally blown away by his professionalism, the standards that he upholds for our students, and we know that we're in fantastic shape. My son's only in 7th grade, my other one's graduating, but I can tell you my senior son had an absolute blast. He was so happy to have Mr. Cosby in place for his senior season, and I know my 7th graders extremely excited for what the next 5 years are going to hold because of Mr. Cosby and how much he's done for us. So thank you guys so much for adding him, and I'd especially like to thank Dr. Berlin, who I know made it a point to fill in that open music spot with someone that would help us grow and it's evident that he did just that. So thank you so much, Dr. Berlin. Thank you for fixing the band program and giving us so much optimism for the next few years. And also, like Ms. Campbell said, thank you so much for that sound system. It's phenomenal to be able to know that when we go out with other AA bands that have all the bells and whistles, so do we now. So I really appreciate everything you've done for the band this year, and thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Next, the chair recognizes Dr. Ken Berlin for superintendent's report. Need my mic, sorry.
Okay, well, I can't really top that, but thank you, Mr. Englert, for those excellent student reports. I do want to acknowledge, we have a transition, so I want to acknowledge some board members that are going to be leaving the board and have really served and done a yeoman's job of improving the district during their tenure on the board. So I do have something for each of you. And we'll hand these out, but you have to open them up together.
This is like a 3, 2, 1 countdown.
Something's going to jump out of the box.
I used to do that with my girls at Christmas. Didn't work at all. So this is for Amanda.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. And then we have Mrs. Pound. Done an outstanding job.
Thank you.
And Mr. Mattson, thank you for your service. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, go.
Oh, okay. Give me like 30 seconds. Wow.
Cool.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
So that's something that you can display on your desk or in your house somewhere. Just to remember that we really appreciate what you've done. Being a school board member is a commitment. It's not easy, and I think it's much more than many people realize until they do the job, and the pay's not that great either. But thank you. We're going to miss you. You've done a great job, though, and I'm sure that you'll hand things off to very competent new board members joining us in December. Thank you.
Thank you.
The chair recognizes Ms. Vicki Bendig for business administrator report.
Oh.
Good evening. Can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep, you're good.
Thank you. So for tonight, the general fund treasurer's report, cash in that account as of October 31st, $14,594,690.35. And then moving on to the year-to-date budget versus actual report. So this is as of October 31st, 2023. There's 33% of the fiscal year completed, and we have collected 50.3% of our budgeted revenues. Most of that is in our real estate taxes. We have gotten some state and some federal funds, but most of the federal funds will be coming as we submit quarterly reports going forward throughout the year. Moving on to expenditures. Again, 33% of the fiscal year is completed, and we are tracking at 23.81% of expenditures spent of the budgeted amount. So we're in a good place there for now. There were some over expenditures or under budgeted amounts for changes in our insurance policies. We had some increases, which is kind of pretty standard increases, and we had some claims on our property insurance, so those did go up. So you'll find some budgetary transfers on the budgetary transfer for your approval. Moving on. Capital projects, treasurer's report, cash in those accounts as of October 31st, $376,346.23. And the cafeteria, as of October 31st, $583,667.37. I have the cafeteria profit and loss report from the end of October. We had $118,819.99 in revenue and expenditures of $131,749.39 for a net loss for the month of October, $12,929.34. And then that brings our net profit for the year down to $14,410.35. Moving on to the bill lists, checks already written. Those were checks between the last board meeting and the work session, $203,683.79. Checks written from the board meeting, from the work session to tonight, $23,279.87. And then general fund bills for your consideration for approval for this evening, totaling $799,475.49. The cafeteria had $283 in checks written between the last board meeting and the work session, $37.08 from the work session until tonight. And then the cafeteria bills for your consideration are $55,779.41. The high school activity report, activity accounts have a total of $63,367.98 as of October 31st. And that is all I have for this evening.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to approve the reports, payments, and invoices as presented.
So moved, Farrell.
Second, Burlingham.
Are there any questions or discussions?
Mr. President, I just have one question. And Vicki, I don't know if you can see, but in your Exhibit A1, there was a ledger entry for PNC Equipment Finance, Tech Lease Rental Equipment. I guess I just didn't know what that $90,000 charge was. Does that ring a bell? It's on your page 18 of your A1.
Yes, so that is the lease for the new student laptops that they received earlier this fall.
Oh, okay.
Yes, actually, it's the second of the payments for the student laptops they received last fall.
For our lease agreement.
So we lease the laptops and they're on a 3-year cycle, so every year we're getting new laptops in and shipping old laptops back. And it's much more cost effective than trying to buy laptops and then being stuck with outdated technology.
Sure. Okay, yeah, thank you.
Hearing no other questions, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion carries. Thank you, Mrs. Bendig. There is one item under legal advisement, the exoneration of delinquent property taxes. I'll entertain a motion to approve the recommendation from the Erie County Tax Claim Bureau for the removal of taxes for the tax years noted and all future years for parcel numbers listed on your agenda. These parcels were recently removed from the assessment records based on the determination of no value or existence of each trailer per field review as outlined in Exhibit E.
So moved, Farrell.
Second, Pushcheck.
Thank you. Is there any question or discussion on the item under legal advisement? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next for finance, Chair recognizes Mr. Steve Morvay.
Thank you, Mr. President. There are 3 items under the agenda today. The first one is to approve the following budgetary transfers. Under F1, a monthly transfer from budget to actual, as noted in Exhibit F. A little over $186,000 from committed fund for paving and concrete to capital projects for the middle school sidewalk and the batting cage and athletic project. $200,000 from unassigned fund balance to committed fund for safety and security projects for future, and $400,000 from unassigned fund balance to the committed fund for paving and concrete future projects as well. So moved.
Nicole, second.
Thank you. Is there any question or discussions on F1? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion carries.
Thank you. The next item is under F2, which is community eligibility provision. The motion is to approve the district-wide participation in the community eligibility provision effective December 1st, 2023, as allowed by USDA waiver for mid-year elections for school year 23 to 24. So moved.
Burlingham, second.
Thank you. Is there any question or discussions on F2?
Mr. President,
Dr. Pushek.
I just wanted to compliment and acknowledge the administration and the business office for pursuing this for our families. I think it may be a big help for many families, so I thank them.
Great, thank you. Hearing no other discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion carries.
And the last one tonight is F3, preliminary general fund budget for the 24-25 school year. The motion is to approve the accelerated budget opt-out resolution, certifying that the tax rate will remain within the inflation index and no need to comply with the Act 1 accelerated budget procedures for 24-25 general fund budget as outlined in Exhibit G. So moved.
Farrell, second.
Thank you. Is there any question or discussion on F3? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call on this. Sorry, Ms. Kelly.
Sorry.
Mrs. Burlingham.
Yes.
Mrs. Lee.
Yes.
Mrs. Pound.
Yes.
Mrs. Farrell.
Yes.
Mr. Mattson.
Yes.
Dr. Pushchak.
Yes.
Mrs. Heatherington.
No.
Mr. Morve.
Yes.
Mr. Blazier.
Yes. Motion carries.
Those are all the items I have, Mr. President, under finance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morve. For Building and Grounds, the chair recognizes Mr. Sean Mattson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have two items this evening under Buildings and Grounds. The first one is B1, Security System and Doors. A motion to approve the installation of additional Doyle security system access points, doors, and associated hardware as outlined in Exhibit H at a cost not to exceed $35,000. Funds from the committed funds for safety and security. So moved.
Nicole, second.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or discussions on B1, the security system?
Mr. President, just quickly, I'm assuming this, as well as B2, that was all done under the CoStars program? I would imagine those costs and those estimates have come from CoStar vendors?
Yeah, it's all under CoStar's vendors.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Hearing no other questions or discussions, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries.
B2, the snow melt for the middle school walkway, a motion to approve the snow melt system for the middle school walkway at a cost of $28,250. Funds from the committed funds for paving concrete project as outlined in Exhibit I. So moved.
Second, Pushchak.
Thank you. Is there any question or discussions on B2? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion carries.
And that's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mattson. For Personnel, the chair recognizes Ms. Nicole Lee.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have 8 items for tonight, and without objection, I would like to pass all in a single motion. They would include P1, ESS substitute additions as outlined, P2, service personnel substitute outlined, as well as on the addendum, P3, resignations, also is listed on the addendum, P4, appointments as listed, both on the agenda and the addendum, P5, tuition reimbursement, P6, BAYADA agreement for nurse substitutes as listed, P7, leave requests, P8 conference requests as listed, and that is what I have. So moved.
Morve, second.
Thank you. Is there any question or discussion on the 8 items under Personnel on your agenda and addendum?
Mr. President?
Dr. Pushek.
With regard to P3 resignations on the addendum, although I will vote to approve, it will be so with regret for Lauren Fye,
Yes.
elementary teacher. She had 1/2 of our children. We were hoping for her to have 2/3 next year. But she has done an amazing job here. Many students and families have benefited from her teaching. Again, I'll approve the resignation with regret, and we wish her the best.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I would just echo that. I Mrs. Fye was on the field trip last year, and we had a situation with the bus, and from a caregiver standpoint, the way she handled that and made sure that the students were taken care of and everyone remained safe and things were done in the best interest of our students, yes, that is a sad one to see for the district.
Thank you. Without any other questions or discussions, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion carries. Thank you, Mrs. Lee. For policy, the chair recognizes Ms. Amanda Farrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do not have any items this evening.
Thank you. For curriculum, the chair recognizes Dr. Andy Pushek.
Thank you, Mr. President. One item on the agenda this evening, and on the addendum is just a correction to that one item, and it is to approve the school calendar for the 24-25 school year. So moved.
Nicole, second.
Thank you. Is there any questions or discussions on C1? I'll just note that an updated calendar is in our folders too, if you didn't see that from last week. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
That's all I have this evening, Mr. President.
Thank you, Dr. Pushek. The chair recognizes Ms. Leah Hetherington for technology.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have nothing on the agenda for this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Hetherington. The chair recognizes Ms. Brittany Burlingham for transportation.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have one item under transportation tonight, which is T1, transportation request. Motion to approve the transportation request and ratification of field trips since last meeting as outlined in Exhibit M. So moved.
Nicole, second.
Thank you. Is there any question or discussions on T1? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Burlingham. The chair recognizes Ms. Tara Pound for athletic and extracurricular.
Thank you. I have 3 items for this evening that I'll push through all at one time. And there are 2 changes on the addendum. AE1 is the volunteer list, AE2 athletic resignation, and AE3 coaching appointments, extracurricular resignations. Oh, and there's an AE, athletic coaching appointments, should be
I think
by
it's
itself?
just,
You should change that to AE4.
Yeah.
I think, Mr. Berlin.
Correct. Yeah, should be A.
So AE4 will be the coaching appointments.
good catch.
For wrestling. And that's all I have for tonight.
So we have a second?
Second, Pushek.
Thank you, Dr. Pushek. Any discussion or questions on the 4 items now on your agenda and addendum under athletic?
I'll just make a comment. Just excited to see things moving forward with the girls wrestling.
Agreed. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Those motions carry.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Mrs. Powell. There's nothing under miscellaneous on the agenda this week. For an Erie County Technical School report, Mr. Steve Morvay.
Mr. President, this is a report of the board meeting that we had back at the end of October. First item of business, which was actually happened a couple of days ago, which was the open house. That was in the evening that they hosted. So I'm not sure. I know our students went during the day on one of those last weeks as well. So I'm sure they got a good exposure of the technical school and the programs offered. In addition, we had approved the new program, which was Protective Services. If you recall, there was some discussion about the cosmetology program expansion, but it was better served that we all agreed that the Protective Services was going to be the next program that could fit in the space that was now duly renovated. So that program will begin in the fall of 2024. In addition, in regards to the renovation, they're still on track for around the early part of February to be complete. And just as some financial numbers, the contingency that was reported at the end of October had about $700,000 left in construction contingency and about $800,000 in furnishings, fixtures, and equipment contingency. So there may be some money that is ultimately left over that will seed their capital projects fund going forward after the program or the project is done. In addition, we reworked some of the substitute teacher pay to try to help entice some coverage for substitutes, as well as then just some other statistics. There's now 826 students that are in the tech school, which is an increase of 30 from last year, and all programs have a 60% or greater participation program currently there at the tech school, so things are going very well. And Mr. President, our next meeting is not scheduled until December 19th, so my next report will not be until the January board meeting for report here.
Thank you, Mr.
That's all I
Morvay.
have, Mr. President.
Are there any questions? Next, for the Northwest Tri-County Intermediate Report, Dr. Andy Pushek.
Thank you, Mr. President. Brief report. I did send out the meeting notes after the last board meeting, which was October. Our board does not meet, or the IU board does not meet in November. So similar to Mr. Morvay, I will report in January on the December meeting. But just one note of interest, the IU has been conducting superintendent searches for local school districts. They conducted the search for both Mill Creek and Girard, which successfully produced candidates, and they are currently running the searches for the Pencrest School District, which is in Crawford County, as well as the Fairview School District. So they have a team, including the executive director and the director of HR, and some other folks that put that together, and they run the entire search. So that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Dr. Pushek. That brings us to board correspondence and dialogue. Is there anything from the board this evening? Ms. Burlingham.
Yeah, I have just a few quick comments. For one, I know all of our athletes have left, but once again, I'm just super duper proud of our district and all of the hard work our kids and coaches do, especially as a parent of a dual young developing athlete. I'm excited to see what's going to happen over the next few years with all the sports. I'm also excited to hear about what's going on at the tech school, especially with the productive service program and seeing what that entails. That's super exciting. And lastly, I also just want to say how much I'm going to miss Ms. Farrell, Ms. Pound, and Mr. Mattson. My first 2 years on the board have been definitely interesting, but it was nice to have you guys here. I'm excited to see what we're going to do with the new members coming on board, but I am just also going to miss you. So thank you for all your work and
Thank you.
Good luck with everything else.
Mr. President, I do have two things.
Ms. Farrell?
One, I see we have a yummy, tasty treat sitting in front of us, so thank you for this. Is there anything that you would like to say about it? It's okay if not. I just sometimes feel bad that we leave and we're like, they left us such yummy treats and we didn't like. Yeah, they're adorable.
We did those at the elementary school for our Thanksgiving feast, and they're all caramel apple bears, and it's essentially apple crisp with some caramel and little belly bears that they, one of the grains that they get, and it was a fun project, and just one of those fun things to do, and the kids got a kick out of it, and hopefully you all will also.
Well, thank you. Oh, and I also heard that there were Mickey Mouses on the pizza for Mickey's birthday. Yes, so I heard. I actually have one more item. I just would like to say what a great last meeting this was for us. It's been a long 4 years, but in a good way.
Almost got out of it.
Sorry. It was really fun to see the kids here tonight because when we started this 4 years ago, this meeting was not as pleasant as tonight was. So it was awesome to see that. So a big thank you to the community for voting us on 4 years ago and giving us this opportunity. The administration, you guys are awesome. It's not easy every day, so thank you for what you do. The extracurriculars, the activities, the academics. I've said before that, some of my coworkers are in other districts and field trips, and some of those things are going away. Carnivals, the pumpkin run, plays, the athletics. Thank you for supporting that for our students, because Dr. Berlin, as you said too, all of those awesome students sitting there tonight, it's more than just what happens in the classroom. So I thank our administration for supporting that and for the board that we continue to support, and I know that our oncoming board members will too. The district may not be perfect, but we strive really hard, and I think everybody from the administration to the faculty to our oncoming board members will help to continue that. To the fellow board members, I appreciate our conversations and our open thoughts on different aspects and different perspectives. I think that's what makes our district so great, is we can sit here and have conversations and know that we're still putting students at the forefront of our decisions. As I said, 4 years seems very fast and long at the very same time. We've done some great things, and there's some awesome things in motion, so I'm excited to see where it continues to go. And as a graduate of Seneca, I had a lot of great opportunities here, and I looked at this as an opportunity to give back to the district. So thank you for that opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Farrell.
Mr. President?
Dr. Pushak.
With regard to Mr. Matson, Mrs. Pound, and Mrs. Farrell, I wasn't going to mention it, but Mrs. Farrell did, so I'm going to follow up. They came in at a time that probably we hadn't seen for quite a while, and they stuck to it, they learned, they listened, they brought their fresh perspectives. We respected them, they respected us, and I think that is what made this group successful. We appreciated that. As I said, we showed that respect to each other, and they showed it to us. They were willing to learn, they were willing to talk, they were willing to say what they felt would be best for our students, and together as a group, we came together to put some pretty significant initiatives in motion. And it wasn't one of us, it was all of us. And everyone had their contributions, and to see where we're at now, and as Amanda said, what a fun last meeting for them to showcase all that this district is doing. And it doesn't happen by chance. It happens with purposeful planning, with support from the board. When our budget priorities match our academic priorities and our student priorities, it all comes together. And this doesn't happen in other districts.
Yep.
We're very fortunate, and we're excited to have new board members to come on to provide even more fresh perspectives. But from the bottom of my heart, Amanda, Tara, Sean, thank you very much, and we wish you well. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Dr. Pushak. I'll just echo that. This is sort of my cohort. I came on with all of them, as well as I'd like to recognize Mr. O'Donnell, who we thankfully got back to the classroom because he's doing a great job, and the play was awesome. There's lots of kids there that got some stunt work with all the things falling off stage, so that was an awesome production. And again, thank you for your 4 years. We appreciate it, and don't be strangers. You know, we always need public comment, someone to come put us on the right path, so you don't have to stay home. Hearing nothing else? Nope. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Farrell.
Second, Pound.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion carries. We are adjourned.